rev up your engines. Today I'm going to talk about high-level scan tools and how far you might want to go to fixing your own car. Now, you really can't do all that much on modern cars without a decent scan tool. Now, this Foxwell 301 for 69 bucks actually does quite a bit. When you plug it in, it automatically reads the data, your VIN number, so it knows what car it is. You can read codes, erase codes. It's got an IM button to see if the thing will pass state inspection. And it does a pretty good job on giving you live data for a lot of stuff. But I'm always getting people asking me, hey Scotty, I want to work on my ABS or the SRS system. Well, one of these isn't going to help you all that much with that. It's too basic of a scan tool. Take this Foxwell 650. It's a fancier one. It's $249. It can do a lot more things. Heck, it can even check your charging system and the battery to see if it's any good. If you're serious about data, it can give you live data, and it can graph quite a bit of that data to give you a serious analysis of the problem. It even comes with this handy little USB machine here that can take the data out of the scanner. You can put it on your laptop. You get a whole software suite with that. It does quite a bit for 249 bucks. But let's say it doesn't go far enough for you. Well, here's where the law of diminishing returns starts to come in. The more you spend, the less extra things you get when you get into the higher end scanners. Like this Launch X431V Plus. This thing is like $1,100. Now, as a professional mechanic, I actually like this thing because it does a whole range of cars. It does a whole range of data. You can store a bunch of it on the little unit itself. But for a do-it-yourself guy, this is kind of overkill because it does a bunch of cars and it does a bunch of things for those cars. But you only have one or two cars you're working on. You're not using 99% of the information that comes out of here, even though you're paying for it. And to take things even further, this AutoSys IM600, it does all kinds of stuff. This is my favorite scan tool that I've been using recently. But this thing costs $4,300. It can diagnose cars. It can program immobilizer keys. It can program keyless ignition systems. Gives you information on service. Particularly one comes with a lifetime of free updates too. But for a do-it-yourself guy, this is overkill. Here's my Toyota 2007 Matrix key. I can program the immobilizer in it with this machine. But it's a $4,300 machine. Let's say you need a key program for your car. I called around here in Houston. I use this nice Pakistani guy and his wife, and they'll come to your house sometimes for as little as 75 bucks. They'll sell you the key, make it, and have it run in your car before they leave to make sure it works. It really makes no sense to buy a machine like this for a do-it-yourself guy. And as I said about the law of diminishing returns, this $69 one, hey, the $4,300 one does not do that many times more things than this for the money that you're going to be spending. I learned that about tools years ago, being a professional mechanic running my own business. There's certain things you should get involved in fixing, and there's other things that you say, hey, no, that's not something that I'm going to get involved in because it's not profitable. Take doing front end alignments, for example. I'm not going to go out and buy $100,000 or more of equipment to do front end alignments unless that's mainly what I did, because I'd have to have a tremendous volume in order to make a profit out of it. It just doesn't make sense. Just like, hey, I don't have a tire machine here. I don't sell tires. It's not worth my while to compete with these big stores that buy tires in volumes and save money. So I just get a relationship with tire guys. My customers need tires. I say, go over there and get tires. I'm not going to be involved in putting them in because I'm not going to buy all that equipment and then not amortize a profit over a few years. Now, I know some guys say, oh, I do everything in my shop. We fix positively everything. Well, these days, even for a professional mechanic, that's pretty much an impossible thing to do correctly. Because even with these fancy, super expensive scan tools, they don't do everything. If you ask any honest mechanic, they'll tell you there's nothing that works exactly the same as a dealer scan tool. And every year they keep upgrading stuff. So those tools are upgraded, and yes, the aftermarket does a pretty good job of catching up over time, but they never make them perfect for an entire range of cars. So for example, if you're working on your own car, do a little research first to see what a particular scan tool will do with your car. This one It's a pretty good all-around scan tool, but let's say you want to get involved in doing ABS work or more complex tire work for tire sensors, and you're better off spending $249 and getting one like this Foxwell. That's a higher level one that can do lots of sensors. It can give you some serious data that you're not going to get off of a cheaper scan tool, but it's not astronomical. $249 versus $1,100 or $4,300. That's a lot of difference. These modern scan tools, hey, they're pretty simple to operate. They're just logical. Once you've used one, you can plug in another one and you'll see, oh, we'll go to that section, go to this section. It's pretty easy to navigate and use these things. Just realize the limitations of scan tools. Don't go falling for an ad that says, oh, this does everything. Airbags, tire pressure monitoring systems, can do just about everything. Because the smaller ones, they're not going to be able to do that. They might claim a lot, but in reality, they won't do all that much. And don't just go out and spend thousands. You're not going to be using most of the data that's in there unless you run a business. You run a business, that's another story. Then something like this comes in really handy. But a scan tool like this, hey, maybe 240 bucks. It does live data recording. It does all kinds of things. My advice would be, if you're serious, look at units like this and decide how much do you want to spend versus how much information are you actually going to be able to use that's inside these machines. Because let's face it, a lot depends on the model that you have, the make. I mean, say you got a Volkswagen. Hey, you might get that VAGCOM set up that plugs right into your laptop. That does quite a bit for the amount that they charge, but it's only good for Volkswagen and Audi products. It's not any good if you got a Toyota. So now you know a little more about high-end scan tools. And since this is Mechanic Monday, I'll be giving away one of these scan tools. To have a chance to win, just place a clean, non-offensive comment in the YouTube comments below, and the winner will be chosen randomly by computer to get a nice scan tool to work on their own car. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.